want to say a few things for you guys to understand, okay? I grew up in Vernon, a small town. I was basically only a wrestler. I was the only one from Western Canada who won the Nationals when I was in grade 11, grade 12, and only one of a few as a junior first year out. My coach had never wrestled before. I got into wrestling in grade 8, and the reason why I got into wrestling is because I was bullied. I was probably, I don't know, I might have been this size here. So I thought, you know what, if I get into wrestling, I'll be able to fight. If someone tries to bully me, learn some wrestling, I'll be able to deal with fighting. What I found is as soon as I got into wrestling, I never had to fight in my life, at all. Through high school, through junior high school, never had to fight. So again, my coach was never a wrestler. You guys have a coach here. He's an accomplished wrestler. He's a tough guy. He's dedicated to wrestling, so that's a good thing. 2, you got a place here to train and do weights. Already, you're ahead of me. Okay, you're ahead of me already right there. 3, your fathers. Your fathers all want to see you successful, don't they? Maybe they push you too much. But you got fathers who are supporting you. I never did. Never had that. So you got 3 things that are ahead of me, okay? Already. And 4, some of you have already had success at your age class and stuff like that. And that's what I had in mine as well. So I wanted to tell you that you guys are in a very good position to be able to do well, not only in the province and in Canada, but respectful and do well at the international level. You already have a few people from the Indo-Canadian communities doing well internationally. We've had some wrestlers from Canada done well internationally as well. And so don't ever limit yourself to thinking you can't be one of the best in the world, one of the best in Canada. It wasn't until a fellow named Yogi Joel. Does everyone know who Yogi Joel is? Okay. Yogi really is he's your yogi. Do you use the word yogi in Indian culture? Language? Anyways, I mean the yogi of, he's the one who broke the barriers for you. Yogi was the first person to win the national championships as an Indo-Canadian. Everyone before was really tough in practice, but they couldn't put it together at the national championships. They didn't think they could beat the white guys. And they didn't. Because as long as you don't think you can beat somebody, you're not going to beat them. Right now in your age category, all of you got all the white guys worried. And then you got the brown people from back east worried because you're tough. You're tough in BC. So you should know that. You guys are feared. You're feared like warriors. Like the warriors from the Punjab state. You know? You're feared. So remember that. You are feared. And you go out there sometimes not realizing that. You know? There's some people I was watching at the BCs who could do really well. One of them is on Ian McDonald's club. He's an Iranian guy. And this guy has all the tools, but he doesn't have it up here. You know? And a lot of you have all the tools. The muscles, the height, the strength, the leverage. You got everything. So understand that you guys can do well and you will do well. You just got to work hard here. I was lucky that when I was in university and then outside of university, that after I finished, that there was dedicated Indo-Canadian fathers, Indian fathers, who was pushing their kids by coming up and practicing with me. If I didn't have partners who were Indo-Canadian, I'd be nothing. I became successful because of the partners I trained with, and that was all the Indo-Canadian partners. It started with people who come out was Aftar Buller, which is Arjun's father, and Sonny Gill, and this fella here. You know, we all forget his name all the time, don't we?
Sonny might be
Sonny's from your village?
Yeah.
I should have him come out if I come out again. Sonny was a good friend of mine. Also there was, and then of course Yogi Joel, Randeep Sodhi, you know. rest his soul, and Billy Saul. You know, I used to have battles with Billy. You know Billy Saul? Okay. A few times I was a little mean to him, but you know, people like that. And who else? Was there any other? Also Ali Sandhu, right? He was come up too. I used to help. Oh, and and then of course Arjun. I helped. Arjun and some of that age category. They didn't necessarily help me. I was helping them because they were younger, and I was helped. Their fathers had asked help, and then Jag, his cousin, right? So I helped people like that many years ago, 20-some years ago, probably now. So I just wanted to say that you guys are in a perfect position to do well, and to never think you can't. All it takes is hard work and push and push and push. Work harder than anybody else in here. I guarantee you that if whoever is the hardest worker in here is going to go the farthest. And so if you see someone working harder than you, then you work harder than them. And if you're working harder than them, whoever it might be, then you'll go farther too. So I remember when I go to tournaments, we'd have practices and stuff a few days before tournaments around wherever they were on the world. I'd make sure after that I'd do some running and some sprints, and conditioning was really important to me. In grade 11 I was third at the Nationals, grade 12 I won the Nationals, came fourth at the World Championships. And my training going to the World Championships was once a week. Somebody came about 30 miles away from Vernon, and we wrestled on the grass. That was my training, go to the World Championships. And I ended up coming fourth. Had I actually had a training like this, I would have been probably in the final. But I didn't have that kind of training. So I just want to give you some, up till university, I never ever shot on the legs. Never shot once, ever. Never shot once on the legs because I wasn't a shooter. I was just a stand-up guy. You know, lots of what do we call this when we're just doing this? Just standing and pushing, and I would work by pushing, pulling. What happens is that when you're wrestling somebody, you know when they give up. You can feel it. When someone's really strong and they're holding you can feel that. But then as soon as you know when they've broken, because that strength isn't there anymore. You can feel it. And you know as soon as that happens, now you got them. And so the way I was successful is I would just keep pushing them, tire them out, let them take a shot on me and go behind or whatever, or just keep pushing to where they ended up giving up. And that's how I won. I made them give up. Because I wasn't really technically good at anything else. Like, nobody knows me, everyone just knows me for stand-up and groundwork. Now, my groundwork is really good. So, I trained with some people who were really good on the ground, which made me really good on the ground. So I love to get on top of somebody. So there used to be, or when they would blow the whistle for passivity, you put them down, and then I'd score my points. So often I didn't score a lot of points standing, but I would get my points on the ground. Because when it came to practice, here's the other thing, is I see some guys and okay, we're doing some, okay, you know, here I'm in practice and I'm gonna go, It's great, it's kind of like a walk in the park. This is easy, huh? But, you know, that's not gonna win championships. Here's the thing, when you really go for it like that, you're not gonna make friends. Because people are gonna go, oh shit, this guy means business. And your partner sometimes just wants to come in and they just want to kind of do it light and easy, but then you come in and just blast through them and you keep doing it, keep doing the whole practice. When you do that the whole practice on and on and on and on, every day, you're going to be so strong in here in your lungs and up here. You're going to be. Make your practice count. Make it tough. Make it hard. Make it fast. Okay? That's how you're going to get better. Then when you do your scrimmaging, I see a lot of people blows the whistle, we're scrimmaging, and we're just kind of moving around like this, you know. You know, maybe score, take him down. Oh yeah, okay, I got 1 point. No. When I'm scrimmaging, it's like, come on, hard, man. Like, make it count. Make it hurt. Like, go for it. And that's okay, right? You don't mind if they do that way, right? You want them to do that way? Or do you want them to go slow? You want to be real, right? Okay. So what I'm telling you is if you're good at practice and you got 1 minute, let's put it this way. When you're doing 1 minute goes or 2 minute goes and you know you got half an hour, you're trying to pace yourself. I'm gonna 25 minutes, so I gotta make sure that I don't get too tired in this 1 minute. Because next minute I'm gonna be really tired. I'll tell you what, if you push yourself all the time, right from the beginning, then within a few months, you don't even worry about that shit. You're gonna be in such great condition up here, right here, in your chest. Just always push, always push, always push. You know what? And that's where you're gonna get your confidence from as well in a match. Because you know you can do it. The more you push yourself. If you wanna be a champion, this is how you will be a champion. And that's pushing yourself. Even if you didn't do any more new technique, as long as you keep pushing, 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 and physically manhandle. You know, physically. He was a very physical guy when he wrestled. He was better technique than me, but I had to push and push and push more with him because technically he was better than me. You know, most people were technically better. But so those are a few of the things I wanted to just share in terms of your mindset when you come in here. Make it count, make it work hard, push, push, push. Okay? You're gonna get better, you're gonna get in better condition, and you're gonna see more success. The harder you push in here, and also what's important is you should be doing some good running. Not just kind of let's get some jogging. No, I mean like run hard. Get that conditioning going. I would also suggest complement that with swimming. If you can swim, that's a really good one because it's good for your cardio and it's low impact on your body. Swimming is really good. The other thing that's not bad, but you got to be careful not to hurt your lower back, is rowing on the erg machine. Do you have erg machines here? Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good one for conditioning. Now, do you have one of those bicycles like this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one too. Yeah. Just, you know. And what you should have in here some days is if you've got someone who's injured, like let's say somewhere here, but they can go on the bike. Just have the bike in the corner there, and when everyone's doing it, they're on there doing it at the same time. So if you've got a 1 minute or 2 minute, they're on that bike doing it at the same time, but they're part of the group here and they're working hard too. Because the other thing is, when you get injured, you should almost come back stronger from your injury. You should come back and be actually ahead of everyone cardio-wise somehow because you're doing more. You're pushing more. Sorry about that. And part of that is that bike is good to be up here doing that extra. And sometimes you might want to have one here too. Someone might want to show, you know what? It's going to be 2 or 3 goes before I come, maybe 4 minutes, 6 minutes. But I think I'm going to do a little bit of this in between because usually we're sitting on the back here, like up against here waiting. And these other guys are going, we're like this and getting some rest. The more you do, the more successful you're going to be. I guarantee it. There's no doubt about that. So that's my little talk. Is there any questions?
What is your training like?
My what?
When you're hard, what is your training like?
Training. So a lot of times I was the only person from Western Canada through a lot of my career. So I would just come to a practice and there might be one other partner, I mean they're Canadian, probably Randy, could have been Billy, could have been Sonny, or Ali or someone, whoever it was. One, maybe 2 of them. And I would just come and I would actually just wrestle for an hour straight. I would just wrestle straight. I just wouldn't even stop. We would just wrestle. Keep wrestling. Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. Because trust me, their dad was there. They wanted to prove to their dad they could take me down. So they wanted to take me down. So they kept wrestling. Their dad made them wrestle too anyways. But there was a little pride factor because they wanted to score. So I just like to wrestle. And I wasn't a big technician. I'm not telling you shouldn't do technique. It's good for you. I hated it. But so what I did, because often I didn't have any coaches that come. I'd be training for tournaments or championships and my coaches weren't there because I might have been the only wrestler. So at SFU, so I'd go downstairs, the partner like Randeep would come up and we would just wrestle. Sometimes he was there, Randeep, whoever it might be. And it was just like do an hour and 15 minutes straight of wrestling. Wouldn't stop. Come in and just wrestle the whole time. Warm up and then wrestle. And I love doing that. And that's actually not bad. Just wrestle for an hour straight. It's not a bad thing, but when there was no other coach in there and you just had another partner, then it was just kind of fun just to keep wrestling, push, push, push. And for me, I was never going to let those partners score on me. Here's the other thing. You should, to answer part of your question too, is that I'd come down to because we went down, you come up to the practice. You should have a goal every time you come up to the practice. I don't know how well you do between each other. But let's say between the two of you, if you two are wrestling, you're a little heavier. But you should say to yourself, I'm not giving up 1 point in practice. And often I would never give up a point. And if I gave up a point in practice, I was pissed off. And that would just drive me more. Then if they got a point on me, I came back and boom, and I might take him down and a little harder because I was mad. I probably got a little more mad than I should have at times, had a little more aggression, but that's okay. It drives you to become stronger and become better. So have a goal when you come in of, or I'm not going to let anybody turn me. I was good on the ground. Very few people turned me on the ground. And so I had a goal, never get turned in practice. And if you set a goal, and achieve it, then that makes you a lot more confident. Now, another way to be successful in your goals is if you decide I'm not going to get turned, then you tell everyone, you guys aren't turning me. Try it. Today you're not turning me. And you know what it does? It drives you guys to work harder, and it makes me work harder because you're working harder. And then if I don't let you turn me, I've won. You know what I mean? Like psychologically, I've won. And then what it does, it drives your partners to want to work harder to beat him or to turn him next time. Or one of the things I love doing, I still play around with all the guys, all the Indo-Canadian older coaches and stuff like that. You know, I always say, coming down the mat, I'm going to turn you like a pancake. You know, so I would tell people, I'm going to turn him, no problem. And so that made it, when you can have a goal and keep it to yourself. But when you have a goal and tell others, now you got to honor that goal, right? Now you got to work hard to make it happen. So that's another way to. Am I talking too much?
No problem.
Okay, all right. So that's another way to become successful is have your goals when you come in here and make them simple. I don't want to get turned, or maybe one certain person. I'm not going to let him or her take me down. Or I'm not going to, whatever it might be. I'm not going to get caught in the front head and arm. I'm not going to get ankle laced. I'm not going to get turned. I'm not going to let a gut wrench. I'm not going to let any points on the ground, whatever that may be. Or every time I'm on top of somebody, I'm going to score. And that's a really good goal. Every time you get on top of somebody, when you're practicing and it's a live go, have a goal to turn that person every time, and I'll tell you what, you're going to work really hard to make it happen. And they know that. And what's interesting is that you will turn them, because when people know that you have that goal, they get worried. And when people are worried about that, that's when you can score on them, is when they're worried about something instead of thinking about what they have to do. So that's a little bit to answer your question. I came down with goals. I came in and made sure that I was sort of like if I had any aches or pains, I put stuff on that, like the heat rub, making sure I came in and those things were taken care of, and then I iced after, you know. and I probably didn't warm up enough. I probably just wrestled to warm up, but having a good warm up was going to reduce the chance of injury, so do good warm ups. And then if I had a coach, we just basically do what the coach said, in terms of the different types of techniques and things like that. But again, if you have a group of 4, be the first one in there. Be the first one to do. I'll go in first, right? Because often what we want to do is we let someone else go in there, and we'll save our energy for the time we get in there. Go in first, and then just push yourself right through everything else. Just keep on pushing hard. Keep pushing hard all the time. Again, if you use the techniques that I'm talking about, pushing, you're not going to make friends because they're going to be pissed off at you that you're pushing them and you're pushing them hard, and then you start beating them, and then you start destroying them, and then they're going to be mad. They're not going to be happy, but that's life. That's life. I didn't make friends. Like, I didn't try to make friends. I didn't necessarily. I didn't try to make friends. But my Indo-Canadian partners, they didn't have a problem with that. They were okay with that, pushing them. They were fine. It was others that probably had a little problem with that. So, any other question?
How many times a week did you train?
Well, usually Monday to Friday for sure. And then often on a Saturday, not all the time, but they had to do something every day. Even on a Sunday, do something. Go for a run, go for a swim, do some light weights, do something like that. I don't think wrestling 7 days a week is I mean, if you feel you can do it, great. If there's an option that goes, if this club is open on Sunday, do you actually wrestle on Sundays? No, okay, then you have at least 1 day of rest. But 5 days for sure. It's guaranteed, especially because during the university season, there was always 5 days, and so if you're on the club, you're training with them, and then often there was a Saturday. Now, if we're getting closer to a championship, we would have probably done Saturdays as well. And I think that what you have to do as you get older, is determine what works best with you with having talked with your coach. The problem that happens is this. Most coaches make everyone do all the same stuff because it's easier to just have everyone do the same instead of do all these different things. Because if you're doing something different, he's doing something different than other people. Why does he get to do this and I have to do that and I can't do this? So the one thing I complained I had, I was always older than everyone else. It's like I've got 10 years experience. I've been on the national team, and you want me to do the same thing as these people that are 10 years younger than me? Like, I wanted more respect. I don't want to do that. I was like that, right? So I'm sorry for that. Often I felt, because I was older and more accomplished, that I should have some choice in what I wanted to do and not do what all the young people have to do. It's called a rite of passage. That's where you have to do this stuff when you're young. And I'm like, I did all that shit before. I know what I want to do. I know what I need now. You guys are still too young to be in that state yet. But, so my mindset, at least the last, so grade 12, at grade 12, my last year on the national team was 16 years later. After grade 12. That was the last time on the national team. The last time I wrestled in a Western Canadian was 20 years. 20 years after high school. Could you imagine another 20 years of wrestling? More than your age right now. And then the last time I was in a competitive thing, I did a grappling tournament. That was 2009. And that was then 27 years. 27 years after high school was the last sort of thing I went in. And then I actually it was in a grappling tournament, and I was in 2 weight classes. I was in the final of both weight classes because I knew I could beat these guys easily. And I was in the heavyweight final before the like 100 kilo or something final. And we're on the ground, and my arm was in between some guy's leg, and he was trying to do an arm bar because he was grappling. And so my arm's up like this, and he's trying to do an arm bar, and it's through his legs, and I'm behind him. And I had good biceps then, and there was no way that he was gonna get that arm bar on me. But you know what gave was my rib cage here. My arm didn't give, but my ribs did. I fucking tore that thing, and I've never experienced so much pain in my life, and it's still, that's 2009, 2010, that's like what, 14 years ago. I think 14, something like that. Yeah, I still sometimes feel that right here. So there's a longevity opportunity, you know, in this if you want to go a long time and do it. You gotta stay in shape, you gotta eat well, do your weights, and that kind of stuff. And the one thing that protected me more so than most of my peers, I'm not telling you not to shoot, but because I didn't shoot a lot, I wasn't underneath. You know, when you're underneath and they put that pressure, they're kicking their hips in and they're doing a lot of shit, and then they get on top, that's where a lot of, that's where all the physical damage happens, is when you're underneath and these people are putting that weight and pressure on you. And so my wrestling was mostly always upper body, pushing, you know, and working off of there. So I would do a lot of arm spins, lots of arm spins, arm drags, duck unders. That's what I would do. Drag, duck under, arm spin. That's what I loved doing, was that kind of stuff. I like that stuff too. Any other questions?
What's your third wrestling move?
Okay, let me show you a few things. Yeah, you want to go. So, as I was mentioning earlier, I did a lot of upper body stuff. So, I would always kick it as soon as the wrestling scene. I don't understand this kind of wrestling. Watch, okay, blow the whistle. Whistle's gone. Okay, let's go. I don't understand, you know, where guys are like distance here. Like you see a lot of people wrestle like that. Never in life, ever. I was like I actually started wrestling when I got to university. I had to wrestle 158 pounds. Same height. My coach made me cut, and I blew my ankle a couple weeks in, and so then I was training with a blind guy. He was deaf. He couldn't speak. And he was blind. And that's where I learned a lot of good stuff, especially on the ground. And so initially I had to start by touching. And so right my first year of university, I was wrestling with this guy a lot. And so you had to start this way, and you had to keep touching him. You couldn't break away because you couldn't see him. So I was wrestling a lot because I was sort of injured with this guy, so I was always here. So as soon as they blow the whistle, I'm right in there. I'm right in, you know, trying to get position in here. So my most favorite was this position here, and pushing in, trying to get underneath here. And what I would do from working from here is I was talking. I forget your first name. What's your first name?
Uday.
I can't hear you.
Uday.
How do you spell that?
UDA.
UDA. Okay, Uday.
Yeah.
Uday or Uday?
Uday.
Uday. So I was watching Uday practice. And what is your first name?
Justage.
Justage. Do you go by Jazz or Jazz or just Justage?
Justage.
So I was watching Uday Justage, and you know they're like this, and then Uday would be here, and then Uday would kind of do an arm spin, and he'd stand here, and he would just kind of like throw like this, and Justage would go. I'm thinking that would never happen in practice. I was telling them, you got to put pressure on him, you got to push, and ask him to push into me. The only way that those throws that you're doing are going to work is if that leg is back, and you're able to, and there's room to come and spin, but he has to be pushing with you. You know, when you're doing those kinds of things, either whether you're doing a trip this way, or a throw with your hips, he has to be pushing in. If he's not pushing in and you try throwing, so pretend you're going to throw me. You know, like, I'm not going unless I'm pushing. There's no way. So what I like doing most is coming in, and I would block this arm here. And what I would try to do, if that leg was right there, I love this move here. It's just actually, as long as that leg's there, It's close to me. It's just a quick push. Shoot it. Boom. Now this is so that leg there. So that's how you can. What you have to do is you have to be thinking like chess. You have to be thinking, when I move him, how's he going to move? So do you notice if I go like this and just push him, and that leg comes forward. As soon as I see that leg come forward, then I'm going to try and take it. That's one thing, one of the moves. Another move, I'd come in immediately, get the arm bar, and I'm pushing and pulling down. Pushing and pulling down. So he comes in, right away. And I put that pressure on right away. Does that feel good? It doesn't feel good, does it? Right? So, you notice the difference in, I haven't done this in 20 years, but you notice the difference in the way I do that technique, the way his technique felt to you? Right? A little different, right? So, right away, and I pull down. Now pull this arm out. So I set things up. Put my arm there. It's all about setup. And when you practice, I'd even go like this. Or even whatever I could do. And I guarantee you, in a match, if you go for this arm, over and over and over again, he's gonna get tired. Now what he's gonna do, he's gonna protect this arm, give me this side. So he gives me this side, that's okay. Now come this way. Always pushing. So, that's perfect. When you're wrestling here, you know there's a line there. So push towards that line. Always pushing, pulling down. Those are my favorite. But I'll show you a nice takedown. To get my breath. I ate before I came. So. I love this move here. So I grab this here, and then what I would do is what happens if I pull you like this? When you pull, he jumps. Pull, he jumps. And watch what I'm gonna do. Pull, he jumps. I pull. Here, come back. That's the move. I love that move. Watch. So, take this. Out. Work, come back. Take this. Jump it. So, what that move is this. Come on, break it down. As I'm pulling, he's hopping. As soon as he's up in the air, boom. My driver, you drive right through. It's a sweet move. And when you get that on someone, they go fly. Remember, gotta remember that. I always have asthma. So, I was in a judo tournament one year, and it was because of people like me that they banned wrestling moves in judo. And I had seeing one of the judo guy that did that. We were flying, boom, and the whole crowd went, ooh, ah, because they'd never seen anything like that. Deep fun. It was really fun. So, those are a few of my favorite moves. Again, here, working the Russian arm bar, and not just holding it. Like, you just don't hold it. Like, you pressure. You put your weight on. You pull down. If you can get that leg, foot, blocking and driving in, go for it. If you can bring them right down to the mat and get around, do that. Sometimes you put your hand up in my head. Sometimes if you're good, you might be able to do that. Right? I could never do that. But others can. If they're able to shoot in. That's another good one there. 4. There's some, but they have to be very gifted. They can actually do a fireman's from here. Fireman's carry by going down, or even, coming in that way. So those are a few takedowns. What I also love doing, which you guys should do in this. You're freaking Indians. You should be doing this. Boom, bring them down. Hard. Fucking squeeze the shit out of them. Come around. Every Indian should be doing this. Head work, guys. Head your guys. Pull them down. Get them down. Right away. Come on. Immediately go for a turn. So I push him. The whole thing about wrestling isn't about waiting to see what they do. It's a series of chess moves. Doing certain things until you're gonna shoot. What happens if a guy thinks you're gonna shoot on him? Does he stand up straight? No, what does he do? Comes down low. So when's the best time to do a front head and arm? Low. So you pretend you're trying to shoot on that leg. And he's gonna come down lower. So it's all about 1 or 2 moves in advance that you always want to be thinking about. I love that move. So all starts here. This helps block. This comes here and pulls. This pulls. You can do a couple things from here. You could push it in, redirect it, come around, push it, pull down. What happens when you pull down? Comes back up. Pull down, back. Push. That move to the left. Should always get that move every freaking match. The front hand arm. And score 2. And I'll tell you what, as soon as you score those 2 points or 4 points on somebody, you can even get in here and threaten a big throw. Sure, grab my leg. I'll tell you what, if you get this throw, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna give up and give you 2 points. He's gonna give it up. He'd rather give up that than expose his back. That's what happens. She's always thinking about those things. So, in your practices, you should be practice, never practice up here. Never. Never have space. It's not benefiting you in practice. You want to be right in here, pushing and getting tired. Tired as shit. And doing everything from here. Because in a real match, you can then, if you want, get the space. Keep the space you want, do what you need to do. But because you've been practicing so much in here, you're probably gonna come in here. I guarantee you that you do this every practice, all your moves coming in here. I'll be honest with you guys. Unless you're the number one in the world, unless you're number one in the world, number two, which we're not yet, nobody in your weight is out here, you know, doing those. All the stuff comes in close. Comes in close. Now, if you're with somebody that you know is better than you, psychologically, you might stay up here. But I didn't care with me. No, I did the same thing. I came in, I tried to control. I don't care who, if it was number one Russian or not. You know, I wanted to tire them out as well. I wanted them to think, whether or not they beat me or not, or whatever the outcome, that they had a battle with me. They're, holy shit, that Edgelow was tough. Yeah, I beat him, but he doesn't give up, and he's tough. And that's what you want people to think. That's what you do in the practice. You battle it out. You're always working from getting in close, trying to grab this, whatever it might be. Now, as you saw, as he's pushing on me, coming forward, there's so many opportunities when you're in close to grab that. I'm showing you a lot of stuff just because I want to go over as much as I can before I die. So, here's one other thing. Remember I was telling you about is a chest snatch. So, here's something that I love doing. So one of the moves I also love doing was the arm drag. As soon as I grab this wrist, boom. As soon as I grab this wrist, boom. Boom. You know, it's just immediate. Not waiting. That said, there's one of the things I tried to do tricking people was I would grab the wrist here and pull it. You know, what would they do? They'd pull it away. I'd do it again, pull it away. So then I go like this and I put my wrist there. Because I wanted them to do the same thing back to me and control, because they're showing, no, you're not getting my wrist. Let go, let go. So I'd come in, I'd put my wrist here, give it to him, I go. Give him my wrist. Am I looking frustrated? Then I put my wrist here, whoops. Then I would put my wrist here, shoot right away. I made him think I'm pissing this guy off and he's gonna get frustrated and make a mistake. Because I'd go like this. Give my wrist again. Give my wrist. As soon as he grabbed that wrist, he was not expecting that. Does that make sense? See, I tricked him. Loved it. It was fun doing that shit. So, I want to give you a little bit about strategy, a little bit about working hard, a little bit about wrestling as a chest match. A lot of you guys are just kind of wrestling in that moment, what's happening right now. You should be thinking about what you're doing. Like, let's say I want to move this way, but I want him to put his other leg forward. There, that one there. As soon as that one is closer to me, there's a greater chance for me to duck under and go for that leg. So a lot of times when you guys do, you're out here, you're out this far. Oh, that leg looks like it's close enough. It's the closest one to me, so I'm going to try and shoot. You do that. But you're shooting from way out here. That means this guy's got a lot of time to defend the leg. You're going to have much more success when you're in close. And think of, as bigger guys, once you start getting into quality wrestlers, having that distance as a big guy is just not going to work. You got to be in close and find out ways to get at that leg when you're close. And there's nothing stopping lighter people. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you can be the more physical one and tire them out, they're going to make mistakes and put that leg right in front of you, really close. Look how close that is. What's the chance I'll get this leg now here, by just dropping down as he's pushing into me, boom. Then if we're out here, you're gonna try and shoot on it from here, right? Where the greater chance I'm gonna score? Out here or close? Does that make sense to everybody what I'm saying? The concepts I'm talking about? You probably tell them this stuff sometimes, don't you? They don't listen. So, so ground stuff? Oh no, I got another hour standing first. No, I'm joking. No. Okay, let's go down. You go down. What do you want to know? What's a question about being on top? What questions do you have about groundwork when you're on top?
When you go on top of them, how do you lock up from the better? Right away.
Well, you know, here's the other thing too, is that wrestling evolves and regresses throughout history, meaning new moves. You know the ankle lace? I invented the ankle lace, as you see it now here in Canada. What they used to do with the ankle lace was this. And this is like the Russian Sergei Beloglazov and Anatoly Beloglazov. You know, what they would do is they would come in here and then go like this, and they'd pick this up, and they would stand up, and then you put your arms up, don't let it. And what they would do is lift up, and then they would jump over. How does a heavyweight do that shit, right? You can't. So I was sitting there going, this is stupid. See, me as an athlete, I had Anatoly Beloglazov, two-time Olympic champion, you know, 4-time world champion. He's showing something. I go, why do you do it that way? Why don't you do it this way? That was me. I questioned even the best people in the world because maybe for you, as a Russian, a Soviet, you know, multi-world champion, everyone was scared of you. But I'm like, that doesn't work for heavyweights or people 82 kilos and above. So what I said, and back in 1987, in 1988, the FILA, the World Wrestling Federation, whatever it is, your officials, they have a training video that they send to all the countries and ask people training to become an official at the international level to watch these videos and score the match. And then what they would do is determine how good they are as an official by what their score is. And on that one in '88 was my match, where they had not seen this before. This is the first time it came out. And that was the ankle lace as we know it now. I just said, guys, why do you stand up? If I just don't sit here, why don't you just turn and keep going? And they had it where I was wrestling the Finnish guy, Finland. And I did it like 4 times, around. And they hadn't seen that before. That's the first time they were seeing it at the World Championships, was that when I started doing that. I just said, it's like a dish rag. Like, you guys are standing up. I can't stand up and lift the weight. I'm not that strong. So I said to everyone, you know what, if you actually just start turning, he's gonna go that way and I'm gonna go this way. And it's gonna be like a dish rag, going like this, tightening up. When I start going that, and then the pain, he won't be able to stop me. He's not gonna be able to stop me when I start going this way. If you do it right away. If he gets ready and prepared to stop, of course, he'll be able to stop it. So, on the ground, I like doing the ankle lace. Now, what happens is that sometimes when you start getting ankle lace on, people will put their knee up here. Go this way. No, turn around. Down. So, what I would do is, controlling along with your legs is important. And so as you can see here, I'm controlling this. The next form of control is my shoulder, my butt. So he wants to try and come up. It's gonna be harder for him because if he comes up, then he brings his leg up and up farther. So come back down. So if you control with your shoulder in here and your hand underneath the knee here, this will help stop him from coming up. The next thing is I can control this with underneath the arm here, and often hold here so that he can't kind of come forward and block. And if I can get in his position and slip down and immediately go. The key is immediately start turning as you get the lace down here. That was a good move that I liked. Next thing is a real simple one, you know, just like that. It's just doing that. You may not, you know, really, people just do not expect that simple of a move, but all it is, it's in the legs here. I mean, and then driving with your weight and coming in here. Trust me, it'll work. This move here. The other one is, when I get here, and if he doesn't come over, then I'll just continue to drive it and pressure, push that weight on that shoulder and try to break his neck. You're either going to come over or your neck's going to break. So you decide. This forced half, as it's called. Forced half really hurts. That's a good one. And again, sometimes, like I said, sometimes I can even just pull. Because they're not expecting something so simple, you know? Especially if the last 2 times you came in for the gut wrench, he's gonna be, he's gonna be down. Not keeping his hips down, but sometimes they'll come up. They'll be up here. And I can see that. And maybe just pulling. Whatever side he has up, go with that momentum. The side's up, it's pressure down. You have to think of physics. Every time you're doing stuff, think of physics. If this is up and that's down, that means the pressure is this way here. So is it going to be easier for me to turn him this way, or quickly adjust it, he doesn't even know what's going on, and go with it, pull. And that's a good move just to try and get 2 points really quick, especially at any time. So that kind of, those moves are really good. Now with the gut wrench, really it's the same. It really depends on a lot of different factors. There's some people who are so flexible that doing gut wrench on it and then depending on the time of the match, it's almost impossible. Anytime you're going to get a gut wrench on somebody, they're kind of weak. If you can get a gut wrench on someone multiple times, they're weak and they're going to lose the match. If you know someone gives up a gut wrench, you go without on them, they're going to give the match up. Gut wrench is you have to be really tough to withstand the pain. And what you should be doing in a match is practices is where they have a gut wrench on you and you work as hard as hell to not give it up. But you know what? In practice, often we give it up and give it to them because we just don't want to go through the pain. But if you go through the pain in practice and don't let them turn you gain a lot of psychological strength. One of the things that I like doing when they're on top, is I defend it this way. I always look to see what's going on. And control. May seem weird, but if you ask the guys there, like Arjun, and why would I blank? He's doing pro wrestling. Who's our pro wrestler guy? Huh? No, yeah, Sonny. They'll tell you how frustrating it was doing that. Now, I actually just last summer in June tore my bicep right off my arm and had it reattached in July. Luckily, it's actually not too bad right now. So this is a really tough one for people to grasp, but it's a technique that I established. I always thought of different ways of doing things. I never did things the way everyone else does. I always found a different way to do it. Every time I saw someone show technique, because I wasn't as flexible, I wasn't as strong, I wasn't as technical. I found ways to do it a little different that worked with me. So on the ground, they're always I'm like this, you know, don't let them get underneath you and all that shit. Well, what's the best way to ensure that nobody gets their arms around you? Get on top of me. He's working this here. And I'm using my legs. You know, I'm being active. You know? And maybe I'll scoot out. But what I'm doing, instead of being blind, not knowing what he's doing, is I immediately turn and push away. You know, and then try and get out. Even if I'm scooting like this. Look at this. They're gonna blow the whistle. And I'm active. Oh shit. I'm gonna dizzy from that. That got me dizzy. Whew. Anyways, as you can see, I don't necessarily wrestle like everyone else. I'm different, and I always was. And I prided myself on being different because I made it work for me. There's no cookie cutter approach. You know what I mean by cookie cutter? The cookie cutter is, your mom makes some dough, she's making cookies. She's got a pattern, a heart. Puts a heart in the dough. All comes out the same. Pulls up that piece, puts it on the platter and puts it in the oven. It's a cookie cutter approach. Everyone does it the same, looks the same. That wasn't me, never. If you really want to go somewhere, be you, be yourself, and make things work for you. You know, you don't have to do whatever, to be the same as everybody else. You know, Mr. Coach, sometimes you got to do what they tell you to do, but find a way of doing it differently where you see more positive results for you. So if you do it the way the coach says, and you're not having the results you want, then do something a little different to make it work for you. And I'll tell you what, is that if you do things differently than everybody else, you're gonna have more success because they don't expect it. You know, they don't expect it from you. The great thing about wrestling at the collegiate level, like at SFU when they were the NCAA or NAI, NCAA, whatever they do now, or in the States, is they wrestle collegiate style, which is on the ground. And that really benefits wrestlers because it makes you work. So part of that technique that I was showing you on the ground is because I used to wrestle collegiate. And collegiate, you gotta get up. You gotta get off the mat and get away from it. You gotta escape. That's collegiate wrestling. You gotta escape from the ground. You can't just lay there. Or the referee will actually give points to the guy if you just lay there and do nothing. Because in collegiate, you stay on top the whole time if you don't get up. So I had to learn how to get up. And so I used some of those techniques in freestyle then. And part of it was, again, as soon as you start this way, I'd immediately grab the hand and then look at getting those legs out and turning. Keeping close radius, not turning like this. If I try turning like this, what's it gonna do? It's just gonna pull me right back. So if I'm holding this, it's a close radius like this. Keeping your body close all the time. When someone spreads you out, that's when you have a chance of scoring on you. Any questions?
Okay. Very good.
Okay. All right, so why don't you have them do some of the stuff and I'll come over and I'll probably just get on top of a few people and just try to turn them and see how good they are. So have them just do whatever you need them to do right now and I'll just jump in on a few people and see how they are on the ground. Okay?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Great.